from our side, we've never been able to tell our story. And it's not that it's going to be all, obviously Lance is involved in the project. But it's going to be, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Don't get me wrong. And so should it be, But at least I think with some nuances, which I think are necessary.
Everybody, welcome back to the Move Plus. I'm Spencer Martin. I'm here with Johan Bruyneel, as usual, for our weekly show where we go through the recent racing action and then talk about a little bit of news. Today, Johan, we're going through the Tour of Oman. Christian Scaroni winning that for SDX Astana with his teammate Christian Rodriguez second. Remco Evenepoel wrapping things up at Volta Valenciana, just like you predicted at the end of, the end of last week. And we have a big debate coming up after that. We're going to debate what's going on at Visma. Is Jonas Vingegaard already in trouble for the Giro d'Italia? But before we get into that, let's just quickly run through these races. So Tour of Oman, how much of this did you watch, Johan? It's kind of a funny race to watch because it's streamed on YouTube on like the Omani tourism channel. It's actually a pretty good race the way they do it because they have the Muscat Classic that starts it, and then it goes. That's a one-day race separate from the stage race, and then it goes into the stage race that finishes on Green Mountain, which is a very big, almost laboratory type climb. Mauro Schmid won the Muscat Classic and then actually won a stage later in it. And then the final stage, I honestly thought Adam Yates was going to roast everybody, but no, the XDS Astana crew beat up on him. Scaroni wins. I think we talked about Scaroni a few weeks ago that this guy is unbelievable at winning early season races. What did you think about this win?
It looks like Astana has picked up where they left it in the spring. It's the same team.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit stronger even, I would say. Obviously, Christian Rodriguez is a great addition to the team. He comes from Arkea, I guess. And he already did some really good rides, good performances there. 1-2 in the Queen stage, and then 1-2 in the GC. And I checked, I saw somewhere at the same time they also won the 2 Asian championship titles. I think Yevgeny Fedorov won both the road race and the time trial. Because Kazakhstan belongs to Asia. And they got, on one day, 1,065 points.
Jeez.
On one day. So they're now number 1 ranked.
Are we sure about that? Because I'm looking at the world ranking, the UCI rankings, updated 11 p.m. on February 12th. So that was last night.
Mm-hmm.
And they are UAE Team Emirates, number 1, 2,600 points. Astana, 20, 2,500.
Okay, well, maybe Astana,
yeah.
Maybe I don't know what. So what would have happened that UAE?
Yeah, like what points? Well, I guess.
But anyways, listen. They're up there. But the thing is that they got 1,065 points in one day, Spencer.
Jeez,
and that's like equal to. Is it equal to a top 3 in a Grand Tour or something?
Well,
I don't know the points. The points.
It's actually
schedule.
A really good question. Let's do Tour de France. That's a big race. That's going to have the most points. I don't think that would be top 3, but it would be. Well, no, you said 1,000 points.
1,065 points in one day.
Jonas Vingegaard last year got 1,040 UCI points for second place at the Tour de France.
Look at this. This is pretty amazing.
Wow.
Obviously, listen, the Asian Championships, with all due respect, the level is not as the European Championships or something like that. But good for them. It's Fedorov is double Asian champion. Is he going to ride in that jersey then the whole season? I guess so.
I guess. What happens if you're a national champion and a continental champion?
I'll actually find out really quickly because we're going to see Fedorov in action a lot earlier than that. But my son's new team, so he's in juniors, and there's a guest rider who comes from April to September from Kazakhstan, and he just won the Junior Asian Championships. So he's going to race in that jersey here in Europe.
Crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, listen, Astana, they what a start, man.
That is.
And it's like everything, Spencer. I mean, last year we said, oh, wow, they're not going to be able to maintain this. They did maintain that level. I was one of them who said, you know what, they're going to fall apart in the middle of the season. It was not even close for their survival in the World Tour. They kept winning. And this sets the tone again at Astana to, everybody's super motivated, great atmosphere. When things work out like this, it tends to keep going unless you get injuries and illness, which we will talk about a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, good on them. They're off to a great start.
This actually shows you maybe there's some flaws in the UCI point system, because Fedorov got 250 points for winning that race, and a Tour de France stage win is worth less than that. So they might need to retool that.
He won 2 titles. He won the road race and the time trial.
And the time trial was 70 points. So that's over 300 points between those 2 races. Interesting. I mean, it shows you they're like still thinking about this, which is smart, because points now are equal. Like, points ain't gained at the end of the 3-year period aren't worth any more than these. So you might as well get a
I mean, if you do great in year 1, I mean, look, for example, let's take the example of Lotto last season, 2025. They were already, because they did a great second year, and they were up there in the middle of the ranking. And last year they were actually not good at all last season, and they got back into the World Tour. So you do great in year 1 and 2. Year 3 is, you have a lot less stress, Do
you know who the 3rd ranked team is in the UCI points rankings?
Has to be Red Bull.
It's Jayco.
Oh,
Jayco.
Wow, yeah.
Like that's important for them. Red Bull's 4th. That is big for Jayco. As you say, to get off on a start like that, usually that sets the tone for the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm speaking of Jayco, Mauro Schmid won. I mean, this might be the best I've ever seen Schmid. I know he won a Giro d'Italia stage, but to win the Muscat Classic and then to win that stage, what was that, stage 3 of the race, was really impressive. I mean, this guy is flying right now.
He was already second in Tour Down Under also.
Yeah. So, and he flew straight from Tour Down Under this race, I believe.
Yeah, man. Nowadays, man, they're never home, these guys,
No. I hope they flew in business class. That's a tough flight.
Yeah, I think so.
And you imagine like middle seat economy. And it's like, are you ready to race? Hope you're ready, man. Adam Yates 3rd. Do we read anything into this for you? I actually thought it was a rare non-win filled weekend for UAE.
I don't read anything into it. Adam Yates is obviously, he's still good, but he's also at the end of his career, obviously. Still good, but, he didn't have that. I mean, he was trying and he was putting everybody in the hurt locker, but Scaroni just had that extra acceleration. I mean, pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah.
And then Adam Yates just basically, when he saw he couldn't win, he got passed by Christian Rodriguez also. Still 3rd. He is going to be one of the 2 protected guys, I guess, in UAE Tour, no? Together with Del Toro.
Yep.
Which is obviously a bigger goal for them than Oman. But yeah, I mean, still up there. He's still 3rd.
UAE's last win was February 7th. A slump, a rare slump that they're in.
Wow, that's like 3-4 days ago.
We're getting up to a week. This is disaster at UAE headquarters. I'm curious to see. I mean, it shows you too, Christian Rodriguez. That's a smart little pickup. Arkea goes under. They get this guy. He's really good. Seriously good rider.
Yeah, no, he's a very, very underestimated and undervalued rider, but he's able to be. I mean, not going to be with the top 3-4 guys, but when there's like 10, 15 guys left in the mountains, he's usually there.
Yeah, really good. So let's Volta Valenciana. You called this. I think last show was the day before the Queen stage. You said Remco is going to destroy everyone, going to win. I wasn't so sure. You can take a victory lap because he just destroyed everybody in the most straightforward way possible. Just had his team. The thing that impressed me the most about this was the team working together so seamlessly. Like they've not been together long and they look really cohesive and really good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they have full confidence in Remco. I guess this is already from the training camps that they did together. They saw his level. I remember this one day in Mallorca, they did, I don't know how many, 270K or something at almost 40K an hour. This training ride. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's like really hard to do. Can you imagine being on that ride?
Yeah. I heard that the Belgians were obligated to go with Remco. The Belgians on the team were obligated. The rest was optional. But yeah, listen, they have full confidence. And he just, on Cumbre del Sol, which is this climb out of Moreira, which is where Van der Poel lives. Van der Poel lives there on top. I don't exactly know where, but imagine having to go up there every day after your training ride.
I know, yeah. I don't know about that. I don't know if I want to live up there.
Maybe he goes with, maybe he has the car down, something. After a 7-hour ride, having to go up there, that's not much fun.
No, I was just on top of Mount Lemmon in Arizona, and I saw that at some point in the past, Mike Woods had done a training camp where he was on top of Lemmon and then doing rides where he would do like 100-mile ride and then have to finish up a 2-hour climb.
Which is what happens when you're on the Teide or on Sierra Nevada. Same thing. It's always Sierra Nevada. I think you could also say it's probably also 30K. If you come all the way down from Granada, it's probably a 30-kilometer climb. The Teide is either 30 or more, depending from which side you go up.
And it sounds like if you're sitting there here listening to the show, you're probably thinking, I could do 30K climb and a 100-mile ride. No problem. It's like, I came back from that ride thinking, I don't know if I could do that. Like it gotta be a sickening feeling, especially if you're shot, you got to climb 30K back. Yeah. Oh, that's ridiculous. But
obviously, Cumbre del Sol is short. I think it's about 3K, maybe a little less, 2.8K or something, but it's incredibly steep. Remco it was, nobody was surprised, right? So Red Bull started to put the tempo from the whole stage, actually. The whole stage. Yeah. It was a hard stage, Spencer. I think it was 3,400 meters of elevation total. For February, early February, that's hard. And then on the bottom of Cumbre del Sol, they went full gas and Remco took over at 1K to the top.
Yeah, and he didn't even attack. He just rode everybody up his wheel.
Didn't get out of the saddle. And it was Tiberi who could stay with him for 150 meters probably. And he was gone.
You saw it immediately because there's a strong group. It was Almeida, Pellizzari, McNulty in that group. And then Tiberi, they didn't even try to go with him. Tiberi goes with them, but you could tell within 4 seconds. Yeah. It's like, this is not a good idea. You're not going to make it.
Yeah. You could ask yourself the question, would it be better to not try and then just stay together, these 4 guys, and try to reel him in the last 10K?
I would say so.
Yeah, but Remco goes fast also when he's alone.
That was the craziest part is, this guy rides everybody off his wheel, doesn't even really stand up. And it's not a shoe. I knew I could have turned the TV off right there. I knew he was going to win 13K to the finish. But in reality, it should not have been a shoe-in because he has a group of 4 strong guys chasing him and he's by himself. But I don't think he lost any time. It was really impressive.
He gained time. He kept gaining. He finished with 20-something seconds. On top, I think he was probably 10 seconds.
And Almeida had a teammate with him, a strong teammate. Yeah. Well, he did. We should say Evenepoel had Pellizzari, his teammate, sitting at the back of the group, which, as we talked about a few weeks ago, does cause problems, because what if they pull Remco back? They know that Pellizzari is going to attack them, and they've just done all this work. So,
by the way, Pellizzari, really, really good impression. Looks really strong. Did the last lead out to launch Remco's acceleration, I would say. We're not going to call it an attack. And then didn't flinch, just stayed with the next guys. It's not like he did the lead out and exploded. He just stayed there.
Yeah. No, he's really good. Like better. Yeah. He's 22 years old. Looked, I thought, better than last year when he finished. What did he finish he finished 6th at the Volta and at the Giro. Mm-hmm. And so that's definitely someone I would keep an eye on at the Giro d'Italia this year. Looks really good.
It's going to be there. I mean, he's co-leader with Jay Hindley. But I mean, last year already in the Giro, Spencer, in the last week, I think he was the top 2 or 3 best climber in the Giro.
I think I said on the show, I was like, is he going to win the Giro? Like, that's how good he looked climbing. And then he kind of struggled a little on the last day, but he's 21 years old at the time. So, first time riding GC in a Grand Tour, I believe. So Almeida, the final GC, the last day was kind of interesting too. We go into stage 5. Did you see? This is a 2-hour stage. That's ridiculous.
90 something kilometers, right?
Must have been. I don't know so if they shortened
it or because they did kind of neutralize the time trial because of the wind. There was a race, but didn't count for GC. I don't know if it was planned.
I couldn't tell. Yeah, stage. I thought that was a really 94K for a stage would be really short.
Yeah,
but it was kind of if it wasn't planned, it should be planned because it was like an always on stage because it's only 95K. It looked like we didn't really see it. There was a super strong breakaway. Ineos had multiple riders in it, and then they crashed out, which, oops, that's probably not how they planned that. And then they had Ben Turner chasing, trying to win the sprint from behind. But it looked like UAE maybe split the field up because it was a really small peloton chasing that breakaway at the end.
Yeah, I think they tried to surprise Remco, but in a race like Valencia, that's going to be very difficult, especially the last stage. Yeah, unfortunate to see AJ August, who was again in the break, crash. And then was it Turner and I don't know who the other guy was.
I thought they had another guy originally in the move.
No, Hajduk, Kim Hajduk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those roads, man, they were shiny. It can be greasy over there. Yeah. So it wasn't wet, and they just slid out.
And so final GC was Remco Evenepoel first, Almeida second, 31 seconds back, Pellizzari third, 34 seconds back. Which also Riley Sheehan from Boulder, Colorado, 9th overall. Good little finish for him. Keep an eye on him. He's recovering from his injuries.
Which team is he on?
He's on NSN.
Oh, NSN,
the
okay.
Rebranded IPT.
Yeah.
But Almeida gets second, but it's kind of these gaps look close, but it's artificially close because the time trial didn't count. So it's even more impressive if you think about it that way. Almeida gets I believe he was second here last year as well to Santiago Buitrago, if I'm not mistaken. And if you think, well, what did we learn here? Almeida, he's got a lot of racing left before the Giro. Pellizzari, I would say the big takeaway for the Giro d'Italia is I'm not so sure, actually, that it's Vingegaard versus Almeida. I would be circling Pellizzari as someone to watch because this guy looks like he's putting it together really fast. And Almeida, it's like still was struggling at points of not in the right place, getting caught out in splits.
But it's early. Almeida is a diesel. If you look at his program also, I'm going to guess he's going to do Algarve. Then he's going to do, what is he doing? Paris or Tirreno?
Yeah, it's like a packed schedule. It's Algarve, Paris, Catalunya.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be ready for the Giro. I have no doubts. I mean, I'm not worried about Almeida. He's going to be ready for the Giro.
So this is a little bit, let's just acknowledge before we get into this, Remco doing great. 6 wins in 1.5 weeks. Season couldn't have started any better. But Johan, did he show us anything at this race that we didn't already know? Has he added anything to the arsenal that's going to let him compete with Pogačar and Vingegaard in 2026?
I think this is Remco's level that we expected. He himself said that he's not in top shape. I don't know if it was. I think it was the Belgian media. He said, probably 85%. It's difficult. 85% of his top shape.
Yeah, I don't know how scientific that is.
I don't know. He says he's now he's on his typical weight of the spring. So, and I do agree, he's not lean like Tour de France lean yet, like he was 2 years ago. And he knows that. He actually said the same. He said, I can still lose some weight for the Tour. And I think the main thing is that, he came in with a bang. His team believes in him. The atmosphere in the team must be amazing. And, up to the next one, which is going to be UAE Tour, right, for Remco?
UAE Tour, it is. I mean, it matters, but it doesn't matter. But it kind of matters. Let's say he doesn't win UAE Tour. Like, how does that really affect his career? Probably not a lot, but mentally, I mean, I would say the thing my big takeaway from this is obviously we know Remco's real strong on rolling stages. Like, we didn't really learn that, but the team just looked like they're clicking. We didn't see the Soudal Quick-Step look like that, in my opinion. Like, this is Remco on a far better team than he's been on in the past.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
Having said that, he's got to be able to, I think if he wants to beat Pogacar, he's got to be able to get those like 10 watts per kilo for 2 minutes and then hold 7.5 watts per kilo for half an hour. I'm not quite sure he's there yet, but we'll see. And as we've talked about, it's not really a race against Pogacar. Yeah, that's the wrong question, in my opinion. It should be, can you be second behind Pogacar? Because we're going to
see. I think Remco's obviously he's in good shape. We're going to see now against Del Toro, who's the number 2 in the world, right? In UAE.
Yeah.
He is number 2 in the world, right?
That's kind of crazy. Yeah. It's kind of interesting to think, are we already ranking him as a better rider than Joao Almeida? Probably, I guess.
Del Toro? Well, there's more potential.
They both got second at Grand Tours last year.
We spoke in the last show, we spoke about him being in Mexico at altitude. He's not at altitude. I have a friend who sent me a message, who listens to the show, ex-cyclist who I think I remember him racing in Belgium at some point. So he said he's been training all winter at his hometown in Ensenada at sea level. Hard trainings. The local government has put at his disposal a van for his crew and a police car and a motorbike to accompany him every day of training.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's then you're a star. You're a star.
Yeah. That's a legitimate advantage too. Like, think of how easy it is for him to access. It's also a beautiful area. Like, it's just south of San
stress.
Diego.
Like, you train, you're in a bubble.
Yeah.
Which we see in Colombia, for example. You see all these Colombian, right? Like we saw Uran and Nairo and Bernal, and they're all training with motorbikes around them because the fans it's like they're in a race. They're on the side of the road, clapping, applauding. By the way, I don't know if you saw. I watched the Colombian National Championship, Spencer. Wow, that was something else. Won by Egan Bernal. It was in his hometown, Zipaquirá, and it was at altitude. So there was a steep climb, 1 kilometer maybe, super super steep, parts of 20%, and it was above 2,500 meters. The crowds were crazy, like not even the Tour de France. The Tour de France is nothing compared to the crowds there were at the national championships in Colombia. It was unbelievable.
Well, I guess, remember like Tour of Colombia, Volta Colombia, it was a few years ago, and it would just be
Tour de Colombia,
crazy crowds, like bigger than the Tour de France.
Yeah, this was the same. This was insane. And then, Bernal winning in his hometown was unbelievable. He was dropped, actually. He was dropped, and it looked like he was not going to win because it was his ex-teammate, Ivan Sosa, who was the strongest on the climbs, dropped everybody, and then Bernal came back with 3-4K to go. And
let's say
two-man sprint.
Bernal's contract up at the end of the season?
No, yes, actually yes, but the negotiations are almost done for an extension.
Well, yeah. Well, let's just say it's up. What would you offer him going forward? He's 29 years old. He's not a Grand Tour winner anymore, but like 8th at Lombardia, won a stage of the Volta, 7th at the Giro. Like on the open market, like if you just change his name to like, I don't know, like Vindex Stibar, and he's just a 29-year-old anonymized rider. What is that guy worth on the market?
You're not anonymous if you have those results.
Like those are pretty good results. There's not many riders that can do that.
Yeah, but it's not. You're right. Like it's there. And I hope he could come back, and I would love to see him on the podium of, for example, the Vuelta. Which I think he's aiming for. But yeah, obviously his market price has gone down compared to, for sure, the long-term contract he had signed with Ineos a few years ago. Actually, I think just before the accident, he had.
Yeah, I think it was like months before the accident.
I think he had renewed for 3 years. No.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I have no idea. I don't know what he's making now. I've heard he has a really big contract, north of 2 million, but a lot more than 2 million.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful to Bernal. And, I'm out of the market. I don't know the prices anymore. It's still going to be a really good contract though. Because it's not just, I don't think it's not just what he can bring in terms of results. I think it's also the respect Egan Bernal has within the team. He is extremely well respected. And when in hard races, he's up there. He's could be top 5, maybe podium. Winning is probably going to be difficult, but you never know.
I think if you think about him as a Grand Tour winner, or that is the goal, it seems disappointing. But what did we say a few weeks ago? There's 40 riders won a Grand Tour stage last year, and he's one of those 40.
But Spencer, let's not forget he won the Tour and the Giro already.
But that's almost like that's a different person. You almost have to like
different rider,
separate
but
that.
Still,
from...
if you look, Spencer, look at it this way. In terms of Ineos, you look at the roster, and I don't have it in front of me. So, but Bernal, you could say, okay, it's very realistic to say we're going to go either to the Giro or the Vuelta, and top 5 is a very realistic goal. Correct?
Yeah.
How many of those riders does Ineos have on their roster?
There's not many. Like
Oscar only.
Well, what about Rodriguez?
It's been a while.
you'd say it's a possibility.
He's been top 5 in the Tour, but last year was a disappointing season. Obviously, very disturbed by a very complicated collarbone fracture, which never seemed to heal. But I would put Bernal definitely in the same category as Rodriguez, if not better.
I don't know. Well,
I think Bernal is still better.
I don't know if Bernal could get 5th of the Tour.
I don't know. Probably not.
There's also we just
Rodriguez is a lot younger, so it's not because Rodriguez had a bad season that he cannot do it again. He's definitely capable of being in the shape again when he was 5th. He was 5th, no?
He was 5th. Yeah, he's very good. We also glossed over Kevin Buckland, who got 7th of the Tour last year.
Yeah.
So, but even that, like, that's an exciting rider.
But listen, Bernal is better than Vauclin.
Man, I don't know. Like
he's I think so.
Bernal is what did he get at the Vuelta last year? 17th, 7th at the Giro, 7th at the Giro. Well, I mean, Bernal got 7th at the Giro, Vauclin got 7th at the Tour. Mm-hmm. Okay. Probably 7th at the Tour.
Same thing with Vauclin. He's also younger, so definitely more more room for improvement. But I think Bernal they definitely keep him on the team, and he's going to be on a really good contract out of respect for the rider he has been and out of the personality he is. Yeah, he's a demigod in Colombia.
Do you almost not even have him? What's his worth as a stage racer versus winning stages? He's actually a surprisingly good one-day racer too. He's pretty good at to get top 10 at a monument.
He knows how to race. He knows how to win races. You know, he knows how to. To win a race. First of all, you have to be in front. Then you have to have that instinct to finish the job. And there's a lot of riders who are incredibly good, and they don't know how to win a race. They just don't have the skill.
A lot of riders like that, yeah.
To win, you know, this winning, you know, smell the moment of okay, this is it. You know, Bernal does have that instinct.
He was at the front of Classic Cayenne and then crashed, broke his collarbone just last year.
Yeah.
Like that's not an easy race to be at the front of. I also accidentally cut in front of him to make a coffee, and he didn't say anything. So right there, passed the nice guy test. Got to keep him on the team just because of that. But Johan, let's take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about if the season's already over for Visma, if they should just pack it up. It's not working out, but we'll be right back. Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by Hims. You've got places to be, and sitting in a waiting room waiting for hair loss treatment certainly isn't one of them. Hims makes expert care accessible on your schedule so you can skip the line and focus on feeling like yourself again. Hims offers convenient access to a range of prescription hair loss treatments with ingredients that work, including chews, oral medications, serums, and sprays. Hims can help since doctor-trusted ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil can stop further hair loss and regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. And Hims thinks you shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself, which is why they bring expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatment plans that put your goals first. No hidden fees, no surprise costs, just real personalized care on your schedule. Think of Hims as your digital front door that gets you back to your old self with simple 100% online access to trusted treatments for real health concerns, all in one place. So for simple online access to personalized and affordable care for hair loss, ED, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/themove. That's hims.com/themove for your free online visit. HIMS.com/themove. Featured products include compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information. Individual results may vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by Mint Mobile. Every group has someone who insists on doing things the hard way. I used to be the person in my group, especially when it came to overpaying for wireless. Then I switched to Mint Mobile, and I'm so glad I did. It was incredibly easy to switch, and I'm paying far less for a far better service. This is a true story. I was out with my kids at a dinner by myself with 2 kids. Oh no, what am I going to do? Oh, they're watching stuff on my phone, but it won't work. It's clunky. I said, I've had enough. So I signed up for Mint Mobile right there. Just download the app. You can sign up incredibly easy. I switched right there in the restaurant. They're streaming. They're happy. Don't tell their mom this. And it's only because of Mint Mobile. And for a limited time, you can have this too. You can get 50% off 3, 6, or 12-month plans of unlimited premium wireless. You can get to bring your own phone and number and activate it with an eSIM within minutes, as I can vouch for, and start saving immediately. No long-term contracts, no hassle. With a 7-day money-back guarantee and customer satisfaction ratings in the mid-90s, Mint makes it easy to try it and see why people don't go back. So, are you ready to stop paying more than you have to? New customers can make the switch today for a limited time. Get unlimited premium wireless for just $15 per month. Switch now at mintmobile.com/themove. That's mintmobile.com/themove. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, and $180 for 12-month plan required. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Over 50 gigs may slow when the network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. Additional terms apply. See mintmobile.com for details. Okay, Johan, before we get into our question of the Visma troubles, did you notice final stage of Valenciana, Movistar wins? Did you also Raul Garcia?
Raul Garcia, yeah. I mean, he was the strongest by far in that breakaway. He's a really strong rider. Also, first year on Movistar, comes from Arkea. Did already a few really good races. Was, I think, a few years ago, he was Spanish champion time trial.
He is, 2022.
Yeah. He's from Madrid. So I know because my son does a lot of segments, and Raul has a lot of the KOMs. So my son Christian is always trying to get, not close, but that's his benchmark, right?
Yeah.
Raul Garcia is the KOM guy here.
I mean,
he has a brother who actually has a few KOMs also. Carlos Garcia.
To be able to win a national championship time trial, but then fast enough to finish off a race like that, pretty good.
The guy knows how to race.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he won that stage was pure like textbook. Waited when he had to wait. Whenever there was somebody going, it was this German guy, Emil Herzog, who was, I think, world champion juniors. Was it juniors? Yeah, world champion juniors, I think, in Australia when Remco won. Has a younger brother who was one of the strongest juniors last season, by the way. But yeah, I mean, he whenever that guy moved, he was there.
How do you remember the 2022 Junior World Championship?
Am I right?
You're right. How did you remember?
I even know who was second. Antonio Morgado.
Yeah, that's right. Do you know who was fourth?
Oof. No.
Paul Magnier.
Paul Magnier, wow.
Yeah. It's actually, if you want to lose an afternoon, go look at old Junior World Championship results. It's super interesting to look at. But third was Vlad Van Mechelen.
Van Mechelen, who is now a professional on Bahrain.
I think. Yeah.
This is a Belgian guy. His dad runs the development team of Bahrain out of Belgium. It's called Cannibal Bahrain.
Okay.
Cannibal Victorious, it's called. Yeah.
But the last time Movistar won a pro race before that? It's been a minute. It was the Dauphiné, June of last year.
Was it the young guy, the Spanish champion?
Their good rider. What's his name? We can't remember.
I know he's the boyfriend of Kate Ferguson.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's Ivan Romeo.
Ivan Romeo, world champion under 23 time trial in Switzerland. Yeah,
and then they also have, not to be confused with Javier Romo, who also won a pro race, World Tour race last year.
Yeah. It's been since the Dauphiné. Wow, that's wow. Yeah, but really, really good win of Raul Garcia. Really nice.
And so our big debate. I'm going to make the case for why Visma Lisa Bike and Jonas Vingegaard are doomed already. Obviously, I'm doing this a little tongue in cheek, but we kind of glossed over it last week, and I went back and marked everything up, and it's not going well so far, and I have concerns. So let's the first thing that happened, Wout van Aert crashed, broke his ankle in a cyclocross race. He actually seems to be recovering well. It might not be a big issue, but maybe won't be at full strength for the classics when he's going up against two of the best of all time. That's not great. Then Simon Yates, one of their key GC leaders and domestiques in the mountains for Grand Tours, retires out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
That's not great. And then Jonas Vingegaard crashes on a descent, hurts himself to enough that he pulls out of the UAE Tour. How hurt is he? We don't really know. Is he sick? What's really going on with the UAE? Like, that seems like we're still not at the UAE Tour. So it seems like if he's healthy, he could race it. I don't quite understand that decision. And then we find out this week, his coach, Tim, what's his last name? Heemskerk?
Heemskerk.
Yeah, he's employed by Visma Lisa Bike, but he is the personal coach of Jonas Vingegaard, leaves the team.
And Matteo Jorgensen.
And the way this works, the team usually has coaches, and each coach has like a bundle of riders.
Yeah.
And most teams, including Visma Bike, have policies that you can't have an outside coach. So if he leaves, he can't continue coaching Jonas. Jonas has to have a new team-issued coach now. The reasons were a little, frankly, strange. This is not how I would have written the press release. His quote was, "Over the past period, I've noticed I was struggling to continue applying my creativity and passion, which are important to me in my work as a coach. This is a moment for me to be honest with myself and the team. I look back with pride on the growth of the team, myself and the riders, including, of course, Jonas. In the coming period, I will take some time to myself and reflect on my future." And he mentions Jonas there. He has coached Jonas to 2 Tour de France victories, a Volta victory, and 3 Tour runner-ups, if I'm counting right in my head. Pretty successful tenure, and he's gone at a really inopportune time of the year. And this means, along with Jonas's injury, his schedule going into the Giro d'Italia is he is now racing Volta Catalunya and then going straight to the Giro d'Italia. I went back. I could not find a single rider with fewer race days before winning the Giro in the history of the Giro. The closest rider was Tadej Pogačar 2024, who did 1 stage race, Catalunya, but he also raced 2 monuments, San Remo and Liège, Bastogne-Liège, plus Strade Bianche before that Giro. So there is a slight precedent, but this to me is a very blunted spring with a lot of disruption for Jonas Vingegaard. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's the 2 things that really stick out for me is, first of all, I mean, we've talked about it already a few weeks ago, is the sudden announcement of the retirement of Simon Yates. That was strange. He must have his personal reasons. And now at the beginning of the season, a trainer, one of the key coaches who leaves the team. I mean, that press release reads a bit strange, I would say. We don't know. I have no information what's happening or what's going on, but it's strange. It's strange. I can't, what did he say? Can't get my creativity and my passion across or something like that.
Yeah, struggling to apply his creativity and passion, which for a team that the knock on the team is that it's no fun to be there. I don't know why they would.
Well, not fun to be there. I think that's relative. That's relative, Spencer. But obviously, listen, they have their system and we don't know them. To me, it smells like there's been a conflict. There's been a conflict between the head management and the coach, or the head of performance, who is, what's his name?
At this rate, he's climbing the ranks. It could be Patrick Bro. Who is the head of? Hold on, I'm gonna look this up.
Anyways, I don't know where the conflict has been. There's a conflict between this coach and one of his, either the head man, the general manager Richard Plugge, or the head of performance. Okay, listen, it's not the end of the world at this point. Also, Spencer, the coach is there for Jonas, for example, a rider who has already many years of experience. He's there to accompany him, and somebody that the cyclist, in this case, Jonas and Matteo, they are accountable to, right? He's not going to tell them or teach them any more secrets. They already know what they have to do. And any other coach will come in and they obviously share information on the team. So it's not going to change that much. The only thing that could change is the way that the person who will now be in charge of those riders who are left behind who are left without a coach. There's going to be a new coach. The only difference will be that the interpretation of the performances is different. That's all. They know what they have to do. And whatever this coach was planning for his riders is shared with the other coaches. So I don't see it as a big problem.
You are correct that there's no. So Matthew Heibor is the head of performance.
Mathieu Heibor, yeah.
And you're right that there's no material information lost with this. Like it's just and the coach it's more of a personal. You're almost a therapist for the riders. So it's like on a personal level, maybe it affects Jonas, maybe not. But
a coach you have confidence in and you have been working. It's somebody who listens, who knows how to pick up certain signs. okay, this is a bit off, but usually it's a constant communication between the rider and the coach, and an exchange of information, and based on that, the plans are often modified or adapted. Whatever, I don't know. Was he not able to adapt, or was he not allowed to adapt the plans of a certain riders? Maybe if a rider has a program already set out from the beginning of the season, and the coach see certain things in a rider he's coaching and say, oh, you know what, maybe he should start earlier, because he needs some more racing, or he should probably take some time off. That still needs to be validated by the management. Yeah, the head of performance, the head of the DSs, and the general manager ultimately. Maybe that's where there was a conflict. I don't know. I'm just guessing out loud, but something must have been going on there.
The bigger concern for me is, I think you're right, there probably was some conflict. This combined with, Moraine Zeeman stepping away, was that a year and a half ago at this point? And then with the Simon Yates, these are oddly timed. The Moraine Zeeman one wasn't weird. That was really well handled. It was at the end of the year, made sense. Good press release. The Yates departure in this, so you could not come up with worse timing for it. And it just makes you wonder.
Yates, I think in the Yates situation, I think the team was also in the dark. I think Simon Yates was, if I'm not mistaken, he did one training camp, right? And after that training camp, he said, you know what? I've now won the Vuelta. I've won the Giro. I'm never going to win the Tour. I've made my career. I earned good money. That this is it. I don't want to do this another year, another 2 years. He walks away from a big contract, man. I mean, it's like Simon Yates didn't go to Visma for peanuts. He was probably making more at Jayco. But not
definitely was not making peanuts. Yeah,
he's not making him a lot less. So
no,
it must be something personal. Let's say, hey, you know what? This is it. I'm done. And the team didn't know. The team didn't know.
What do you think about this build up to the Giro? You were saying offline that you don't think this is a problem, this super blunted preparation with the one stage race going into the Giro.
No, I don't think so. Spencer, let's go back to 2 years ago when Jonas crashed in the Basque Country, didn't do any races, and showed up at the Tour de France in amazing condition. I think this fits perfectly into Jonas is obviously a rider from a distance. I have the impression he's a guy who's able to prepare himself with specific training. Listen, if you're going to go full gas for the Giro and then want to be the best possible you can at the Tour de France, this is the way to do it. Altitude camps. His wife is not going to be very happy. And then, one race, get into the Giro, probably not 100%, but good enough to not lose time and be at your best in the last week. The Giro is always decided in the last week, typically. And then, have enough left in the tank for the Tour de France. I don't dislike it.
Well, I mean, they're definitely, if you don't dislike it, I mean, you have authority on this. So you should be the one people listen to. And the other big clue should be Pogacar did one stage race before he went to the Giro and did the same stage race and did pretty well in 2024. So I did think, there's going to be some altitude camps in there. The projects around the house are not going to be getting done. Could be laggy, and this is going to be an issue.
Already done. The kitchen is already
done. There was, I think it was like Bradley Wiggins was like, there is an argument to be made that if you're making that much money to ride your bike, you probably should be at a training camp. That's not an unreasonable ask. And the more I think about that, the weirder. I still can't believe that happened. But
you actually should want to be at a training camp.
Yeah, I was just like,
at a training camp.
Why was that an issue?
Yeah,
in the first week of the tour?
That was a really weird, really, really bad timed interview.
Yeah, but you could be onto something here that they just do Catalunya training altitude camps, no problem.
Well, let's not forget he was planned to do UAE tour. That was the plan.
I still don't understand the not doing UA Tour, unless he's more injured than we think from the crash.
The thing is, Spencer, we've said it already many times, like these guys, these top guys, the races they go to, they only go to the races they want to win, and they think they can win. If now Jonas has been derailed a little bit in his preparation with the crash, maybe he's been sick, we don't know. The thing about Visma is that, they're not the strongest in communicating what's happening with the riders. I mean, it's their right, it's their right to. They don't have to. They have no obligation to let anybody know what's happening with riders or with programs, or it's you can do whatever you want. But we, the fans and the media, it opens more doors for speculation, right? Why are and if something happens and there's no explanation in today's world, then social media goes crazy. But they seem to be really good at distancing themselves from that and just keep focusing on their objectives. Listen, it's not a great start for Visma, but for the moment, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I'm a lot less worried than you are.
What's funny is I'm often pretty critical of their communication and their questioning their preparation. But if you really look at the stats, they just show up. Think of 2024, like not a lot of communication about Jonas. Shows up to the tour in pretty good shape. So it often works out for the best for them. Just sometimes I wonder about their communication. Maybe this won't be a problem at all. It is just a lot going on this early in the season. Let's take another quick break, and we're going to talk about another team having a hard time, and then who's going to play you in the Lance Armstrong movie that was just announced. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by Array Hair. You know the moment when you notice your first gray hair? I remember seeing that actually quite a while ago and thinking, all right, here we go. It's not just the color. They feel different. Coarser, wiry. They stick up straight like they're announcing themselves. Makes it harder to style your hair like you used to when you were younger. And I'm not against aging. Anyone who can see me knows I'm not against aging, but I wasn't ready to surrender my hair color either. That's why I started using Array. And what I like about Array is they don't promise to magically just stop the gray hair. They focus on slowing it down and helping you keep your natural color longer. So when people see you after maybe your 10, 20-year reunion, they're not like, oh my Lord, what has happened to you? How did you turn into an old man? It slows it and lets you age gracefully. That's why I've been using their shampoo, conditioner, shower duo product. This skincare grade shampoo and conditioner duo, I got it right here. Sleek little bottles. They look good in the bathroom. And they preserve pigment while gently cleansing, hydrating, and reducing breakage. They also have the system, which includes their daily supplement, Not Gray Today, and their serum To the Root. And after a few months, I have noticed that the gray is slowing slightly, and my hair feels thicker and healthier overall. So most of us invest in skincare if you listen to this show, you know that, to slow signs of aging on our face. This is the same idea, but for your hair. If you want to slow the growth of grays and keep your natural color longer, head to array.com and use code THEMOVE at checkout for 15% off. That's AREY.com and use code THEMOVE at checkout. Again, array.com/THEMOVE. Okay, Johan, before we get into who's going to play you in the just announced Lance Armstrong movie, directed by Ed Berger and written by Zach Baylin with Oscar-nominated actor Austin Butler in the lead role, the titular role of Lance Armstrong. Pretty strong crew there. Let's talk about Soudal quick step really quick. 14, you were saying before we recorded, they have 14 injured riders currently. Presumably they have some non-injured riders on their team, but we said it at the top of the show. We said, how you're doing now sets the tone for the rest of the year. I assume that works both ways. If you start off on a bad foot, it can be tough to come back from it.
Man, when I saw that list, I just saw it on social media.
It's unbelievable.
14 injured riders. That's wow. You have 16 left. And, usually what happens is that the beginning of the season is usually very heavy because, lots of races. Everybody wants the race. So they have double programs all the time and sometimes triple programs. So yeah, if you have only 16 riders left, that's going to be a problem. Now, we don't know if all those riders are now inactive, or some are sick. I mean, some of them have fractures, so they're out. Right, that's not good. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely not a great situation to be in.
Like Lawrence Rex, is that his first name?
Yeah,
like he's one of their top one-day riders, and he's a fracture. So presumably he won't be in the classics.
Well, he was in that horror crash in Alula Tour, crashed with
the super high-speed crash. Yeah, man, that was not good. Yeah, I mean he got 8th at Bruges de Panne last year, 10th at Paris-Roubaix, and that's a key rider that they don't have. He was on Intermarché. Yeah, he's a new signing. That's not great. Tim Merlier, you don't like to see this knee issues. That's never good.
Yeah, that's not good.
And that's a key rider for them. Like their whole team centers off of him. So it's going to be tough to come back from that. I don't know. We have no notes on how to prevent this. It's just, I guess, it's an unfortunate byproduct of starting the season. Also, maybe we didn't mention on the recording, but you'll notice, where are all the big stars? Well, Remco Evenepoel's out there racing. Mads Pedersen tried, got hurt. None of the other big stars have raced yet. This is maybe partly why, to limit the chances of crashes, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at if you call it the six big names, let's say, you have Pogacar, Jonas, Remco, Mathieu van der Poel, Wout. I still count him as one of the big names. And who else do we have left? And Del Toro.
We used to count Primoz, but he's now the forgotten man.
Wow, isn't
that crazy?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. He's been quiet. He's been very quiet.
Yeah, very quiet. Too quiet.
I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden he shows up and just pulls one out of the bag.
Yeah, me too. Anytime you don't hear from Primoz, you should be expecting big things.
Yeah. No, I mean, they all chose to. I mean, it's only Remco who has started the season for the moment. Soon it's going to change, right? Although, I mean, now with Jonas delaying his start, Pogacar not starting. Pogacar's is the first race is Strade Bianche, right?
Yeah.
So that's still almost a month.
What about Van der Poel?
Van der Poel, yeah. I mean, he plays it by ear, man. He's
no races listed on his program.
I think was it last year or 2 years ago? All of a sudden, like 3-4 days before this race in Belgium, Grand Prix Samin, he said, "Yeah, I'll start." And then he just shows up and wins. So it's going to be the same. I heard somewhere or read somewhere that he might actually start at Nieuwsblad as his first race. That would be cool.
That would be very cool. That would give us some spice to the early season. Yeah. The Lance movie, it's kind of funny because we've known about it for a while, and then now it's in public and it's a big deal. Obviously, it is a big deal because those are big actors, big personality being portrayed, big story. I'm sure. Big director, great writer as well, super nice guy. And obviously, Austin Butler is a very popular actor at the moment too.
Oh, Austin Butler, just to confirm, Austin Butler is going to portray Lance in the movie.
But that's all we know in terms of actors so far. That Austin Butler is portraying Lance. We don't know any other actors. Who do you want to portray you, Johan?
I don't know, man. I haven't even thought about it. I have no say in it anyway. So I don't know. All I know is that
George Clooney.
No. All I know is that the movie is going to be the story told from another perspective, and because there's been a lot of writing, documentaries, so-called documentaries. Then this movie there that Walsh made based on his book. Most of them I haven't watched them, but I do know I do know that there's a lot of facts and events that haven't been told, or they have been told, but not in the right way. So I think this is. I'm excited for this, man. It's gonna be a really, really big production, and then afterwards people can think what they want, right? But let's say from our side, we've never been able to tell our story, and it's not that it's going to be all. I mean, obviously, Lance is involved in the project, but it's going to be, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Don't get me wrong, and so should it be, But at least I think with some nuances, which I think are necessary to really give the people, because and I see this every day. I mean, I've never seen it in person, but if I think about myself, for example, I've also been portrayed by this famous USADA report, the reason decision. I call it the unreasoned decision. It was more written like a novel or like a sensational report. Then this was not an objective report. I've been portrayed as a really like the devil, and I know I'm not. First of all. And I know, anyways, whatever people think, there's a small minority who keep thinking that. I've struggled with that for a while, for example, but I've turned that page, and as long as I know that the people who know me and who are around me and who I care for and who care about me know who I am and how I am, that's usually the way it is. And with Lance, it's the same thing. So. Obviously, the haters are not going to like the movie, right? We already know that on beforehand, but that's not the point. I'm excited about this. I'm really excited about it, and I think it's going to be really good. But I don't know who's going to portray me. I have no idea.
Johan Bruyneel confirmed not the devil. I can vouch. I would say that's a fair representation. It's kind of funny you mentioned that. Like before I met either you or Lance, I was like, man, these guys are going to be jerks. Like based on, just based on the reasoned decision.
Yeah.
But no, not true. More nuance in real life. Who knew? I will say probably the template would be Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, polarizing character, but the story's told from his perspective, and you just add nuance by doing that. I think you could walk away from that movie thinking many things about Jordan Belfort, but you have a clear picture of his life. I would assume that's the same thing they're going to try to do. I think something people don't fully realize is how young you guys were when this happened. Like I was hearing the Lantern Rouge podcast talk about the casting. I don't think they understand, unless my calculations are wrong, you were 41 years old in the last Lance Tour de France win. Is that right?
Yeah, I was 34 when my first year director.
Wonder Boy. That is crazy. That's unbelievable.
No, I also listened to that part because it had been pointed out to me that they had been debating in the Lantern Rouge podcast. I think they're a bit off topic. They've been naming names, characters who they think are way too important in the big picture of our story. But we'll leave that for later.
And no, probably true. No comment. I would also say they're way off. I think they're just they're miscalculating the ages, like of how old everybody is. Like George Hincapie, they were like, "Oh, George Clooney's going to play George Hincapie." Like, George Clooney's probably older than George Hincapie currently.
Special effects.
I would love to see like Clooney from Ocean's 11, just the smoothest character ever, playing George Hincapie. That would be unbelievable. And I am actually quite curious to see who's going to play you guys. I think it's going to be people we don't know, because we don't know that many actors that age. I think it's going to be cool to see who they unearth. Also, it's why actors are actors and we're not. They can pick someone that doesn't necessarily, like, they don't have to look like someone, and they just become them. It's super impressive.
Sure. Yeah.
And the guy who played you in the program, pretty good. Shout out him.
Well, that's actually funny. I mean, I have a funny story about that, Spencer, because, that's a whole different movie, but I think it's probably more than 10 years ago now. Yeah, it's definitely more because I was still living in London. So this person who was portraying me, French actor called Denis Ménochet, who had also a role in Inglourious Basterds, for example, and he actually contacted me before they started shooting, and he wanted to have a meeting with me because he says, I usually do this. I want to really get into the personality. So we made an appointment. That we were going to have a meeting, and he was actually 2 days before the meeting and this was him personally reaching out to me. And the whole crew or the production team didn't know anything about this. And 2 days before the meeting, he messaged me. He said, "Hey, we can't meet because they found out, and I'm not allowed to meet with you." Which he was really pissed off. And then afterwards, I spoke to him after the movie. After the movie came out already, and he told me that he had refused to watch the movie. He didn't agree with the script because he had done his own research, right? And he didn't agree with the script. He just played his professional role, but he refused to watch the movie. Coincidentally, exactly the same thing happened with Ben Foster, who portrayed Lance.
Interesting.
Ben Foster didn't want, maybe he watched it later, but straight after when it came out, didn't want to watch the movie.
The guy for not meeting with you, did a pretty good job of, it's pretty weird. It's weird to watch it. He's that good. And another actor that I don't think was that big at the time, but is big now, is Jesse Plemons, played Floyd Landis. And pretty good in his, he kind of looks like him, I guess, which helps. But yeah, like that, looking back, like that's quite a stroke of luck for the production to get Jesse Plemons.
Yeah, one thing is, find lookalikes, but Spencer, with all due respect, and I'm allowed to say it. If the movie is shit, and that movie was shit, it's not going to be a good movie. It was a failure. And it was based on completely David Walsh's story. It was him one-sided, and it was a shit movie. So this one's going to be much better.
Yeah, it's hard to if you think about the premise of that movie, to Lance is the center point of the movie, but then there's nothing from his perspective really, which is going to be a tough assignment to make a good movie that way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see who plays you. Can't wait.
When I find out, I'll tell you.
Are you guys going to be I hadn't really thought about this, at a movie premiere?
I have no idea. I know very little about it, Spencer. I spoke to Lance a bit about it, but I have no details. So I don't know.
And I don't know if we said it, but the director, Ed Berger, just directed Conclave, which was a massive movie. But he also did a German show called Deutschland 83. This was a long time ago, 10 years ago. Very good show. Highly recommend watching that. Great director.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything else, Johan? And we should update people. We have racing coming up. I feel like we've been talking about the UAE Tour for 4 weeks at this point. We've Tour de la Provence over the weekend, and then UAE Tour starts on Monday. The Remco Evenepoel, Isaac Del Toro showdown with Adam Yates also there. So, and then it gets busy. It's UAE Tour, and then in the middle of the UAE Tour, Algarve and Andalusia start. They all finish on the same day, Sunday the 22nd, and then we'll have a show wrapping that all up on the 23rd. But we'll talk at the end of next week, and we'll be in the middle of the UAE Tour, so we'll have racing to talk about then.
Okay. Thanks, Spencer. Speak soon.
Right. Thanks. Bye.